Okay, this is the special meeting of the Glendale City Council of October 11th, 2011. Can we have a roll call, please?
Council members: Manukian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Frieden.
Here. Can we hear your report, please?
The agenda for the October 11, 2011 special meeting of the Glendale City Council was posted on Thursday, October 6, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Before you for this meeting is General Manager of Glendale Water and Power regarding water rate redesign and rate increase. At 1A is a motion authorizing GWP to proceed with the issuance of the Proposition 218 notices in accordance with the applicable statutory provisions, which shall include the percentage of rate increase.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Steiger, this item will still be coming back to us, correct? Today is just the notice, the public noticing.
That is correct.
Okay, so can we hear your, whatever report you have to
Before
us?
we go to the report, may I ask a question? I thought we voted against this. There were 3 against and 2 for. Why is it coming back?
No, as I recall, you directed us to come back with some variations from the staff's recommendation, which was for lesser percentages, to see that, as well as to see the play out on the model that the consultants had presented.
We also asked, I think, GWP Commission to further discuss
Right.
the item, which I saw that they did, I think, a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, my understanding was that me and Mr. Quintero voted against the raises, and Mr. Najarian against the increase, and Mr. Najarian also voted against the increase at that point, citing his artificial turf issue that he has with the city.
Well, as I recall, Mr. Quintero expressed a willingness to consider a rate increase, but less than was being recommended by staff.
Is that correct, Mr.? Is that how you remember it?
I'm willing to consider it. I'm quite frankly am more interested in hearing some justification, or more, a better presented justification for the rate increase, what exactly the bonds are for. Then the whole issue of rate redesign, because redesigning the rates doesn't necessarily mean a increase.
Okay.
I hope that's what we'll hear today.
Well, okay. It's
And just to complete that loop, as I recall, Mr. Najarian, you'll remember better than I did because it was your words, but there was an expression of concern that if the artificial turf issue was not also brought back, then he was reluctant to support a rate increase. Not that there was a definite, I don't support a rate increase.
okay.
I think it was more in the sense of a warning than anything else. But you can clarify that today for us, if we're wrong.
But again, no matter what we decide today, just to be clear, that would be what's on the notice, but it still would come back for a further discussion for us to actually adopt the rates. We're not, no matter what, we can't adopt the rates today.
You can't.
We're only going to be, all we're discussing today is if we're going to notice a rate the discussion of a
Right.
rate change and what that discussion would entail.
Right.
So I just want to make that very clear to everybody, that no matter what, the most we can do today is to notice the public of a possibility of a rate change or a rate increase.
In fact, Madam Mayor, what you're noticing is a public hearing. So what will have to come back before you can adopt any rate redesign or increase would be a public hearing before the City Council. So that will have to come back. That's what essentially what's being noticed if you give the direction to do that.
Mr. Minikin?
Just for the record again, I don't like being handed a 50-page PowerPoint presentation right before the meeting. I had asked before that I get an email of the PowerPoint presentations that are going to be presented during the council meeting, and here we are again with a 50-page PowerPoint presentation.
We understand and we agree.
Okay.
Let me join in because I feel the same way. This is a tremendous amount of information
Right.
that is going to be presented, and we're going to get to comment on it, but it would have been nice to have a day or half a day or something to be able to absorb it even before it's presented by the staff.
Well, let me ask what this is. Is this information we've already seen, or is this a new packet?
Much of it, in fact, the overwhelming majority, is what you've already seen. We've tried to fine-tune some of it because there were questions from last time. So some of the things that you'll see in here are a clarification of what we presented last time. In fact, most of it is. So there's very little new in here. It's more a clarification of what you've seen in the past.
Then let me say, then it would have been even easier to get it to us prior to the meeting, if that's the case. If it was something that was being worked on up until this morning, then I can see that it couldn't have...
Well, let me give the council the option of continuing this matter to another date. If it's the desire of the council to have time to review this material, we can certainly continue this item to next week.
I would like to continue.
Yeah, so would I. 50 pages to put it up here and ask for intelligent comments. It's just too much at one time.
Mr. Quintero's nodding, so we have at least 3 people.
If that's your consensus, I recommend you take it off calendar so we can pick an appropriate time, coordinating consultants' presence. I don't know what next week's agenda looks like, frankly, off the top of my head.
And one
so
other-
I suggest you take the matter off calendar, and we'll schedule it again.
Another
Time we
thing,
can make sure you have the information you want.
is it possible to make a notation to us, an email, telling us which pages have changed? Where should we be concentrating on looking?
Yes, we can.
I would also like you to send a summary of the GWP discussion, at least of their final comments, if anybody here wants them. I watched the meeting, but for those on
commission.
council, sorry, the commission. What did I say?
GWP.
Oh, GWP, yeah. So if any of you would like that, perhaps you can send everybody a summary of the final comments and anything new that, was discussed. Or if, I know it is online, people can watch it, but either way. So I have 2 cards. I haven't opened up any public hearing. Should I, is the proper procedure just to keep them for next time, or should...
You don't have to allow them to speak because we're not taking any action. You're not even getting the report, so you don't have to take any.
Well, let me
you don't
just
have to take the cards if you
ask
don't
the
want
public,
to.
because we're not even going to hear, we don't have the report, we're not going to be discussing the item today. Would it be okay with you? Would you rather speak today anyway? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you speak since you're here.
It would have been nice to know what's in here before we hear the input.
Madam Mayor, let me-
Let me call the cards. I guess I'll start with Harry Zavos, since you're already there. And then my next
And
card will
Madam
be
Mayor,
Mike
I
Mohill.
appreciate your taking the comments, and my comments will be predicated on what I understand the rate structure to be as it was presented. And before I begin, I have copies here of the substance of what I intend to read, as well as the copies of the particular law upon which my remarks are based, with underlining of the most significant portions, and I'll hand those out now.
Mr. Zavos, is that what you sent us by email already?
Pardon?
Is that what you sent us by email already?
Yes, it
It's
is.
the same thing.
Right. So if you have it, then you just have a second copy.
You can read it all over again, but you sent it to us.
My name is Harry Zavos. I'm a citizen of Glendale. The city claims California Water Code Section 37274 as authority for the Wildam proposed new water rate structure. Section 372 requires a basic use allocation be, and I now quote from the law, established for each customer account that provides a reasonable amount of water for the customer's needs. A basic rate is charged for this water, what is Tier 1 in the structure. Once the customer exceeds this allocation, uses more water than is reasonable for his needs, the utility can impose increased conservation charges, Tiers 2 and above. This is a sensible way to encourage conservation by financially disincentivizing wasting water. But the Wildam proposed rate structure violates the express language of Section 372 as well as its goal. Take the basic allocation rate. The basic allocation rate is not based, as required by state law, on each customer's actual need. Rather, the proposed allocation is the same for each customer. 55 gallons times the average occupancy of a single-family residence, which is 2.5. This means that a customer living alone on a small lot who theoretically only needs 55 gallons of water can use over 130 gallons with no conservation charge. Another customer on a large lot with a pool, living with parents, spouse, and 5 children can conserve using only 40 gallons per occupant, a total of 495 gallons. But nevertheless, he will be penalized with a conservation fee. He will be charged at one of the higher tier rates. Clearly, the Wildam proposal which ignores the actual needs of customers, on its face violates the letter and spirit of Section
I'll give you a half a minute more since you were spoken to. While you're
372, and before you proceed even with a notice, I would suggest you have a legal analysis how you can square this. To say, and this is the last thing I'll say, to say that the average rate is the actual rate or reflects the rate, it reminds me of that story about the two statisticians who are in the Army and they see a guy on a hill and one guy shoots and he puff of smoke 20 yards above him, the other guy shoots a puff of smoke 20 yards below him, and they say, well, I guess between the two of us, we got him.
Okay, thank you. Mike Mohill, then to be followed by Deborah Dentler.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, council members, and the public. My name is Mike Mohill, long-term resident of Glendale. Glendale GWP water rates. The majority of the water rate increases before the council will be on the fixed cost, which is the water customer charge located on page 3 of our GWP bill. All can see this. Water customer charge is the water line to a resident's home and the administrative cost. In 2007, the water customer charge was $14.30, and today it is $31.32. The rate has doubled in just 4 years. If a resident does not use any water, one's future bill will still go up because of the fixed water customer charge. This, ladies and gentlemen, has nothing to do with water conservation. Water rate increases. In 2007, it was 9%. 2008, 14%. 2009, 12%. And November 2010, 3.8% increase, even though the Glendale residents during the drought months saved over 18% in water consumption. Total water rates increase since 2007, is 38.8%. This is an uncompounded rate. Now the city again is proposing to increase our water rates 21%, coupling rates by 2015. The 38.8% water increase since 2007 plus a proposed 21% rate increase will mean a 59.8% rate increase by 2015. Why these rate increases for the past 8 months when the Metropolitan Water District has lowered our water rates and claims we have plenty of water available? Mr. City Attorney, Mike Garcia, I would hope you would please advise council on this serious matter before us. These proposed rate increases are unnecessary and are a clear violation of Proposition 218, where the public has no vote on these rates. Increases and notification is not, may I state again, is not the same as voting. Also, these proposed rate increases are in violation of California Code 372 regarding the tier system. Council members, please, do we really want lawsuits by members of the public? It's Mike Mohill. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Dentler is my last card.
Good afternoon, Mayor and all members of City Council and staff. My name is Deborah Dentler. I live in Glen Oaks Canyon in Glendale and have been a resident of Glendale since 1989. I certainly understand that the council wants more time to reflect and to read the materials, and I understand you'll continue this matter to another day. I wanted to take a brief opportunity to address the council because I'm not positive what your next date will be and whether I'll be able to make it. A number of us on the GWP Commission were to try to make it here today, and I'm looking around thinking some of us have come and hopefully others will come the next time. So I hope I'll be able to address you again. I wanted to invite you all to watch our proceedings online, the video, or at least the audio, and to read the minutes of our meetings, rather than just rely on a staff summary, which it's a great idea that staff will give a summary of what the highlights of the materials are and perhaps a summary of what the GWP Commissioner's concerns were. But go straight to the source. If you have time, look at the video, read our minutes. I wanted to assure you that everyone on the GWP Commission has worked extremely hard, has met for very lengthy sessions. I think our last session was close to 4 hours, and so was another.
And you want us
one
to watch
before
that session? Is that what you're saying?
Pardon me?
You want us to watch the session, 4 hours?
I hope that you'll take a look at least the minutes and review the video if you have time. I know you're all busy. I wanted to assure you that to a person, every single member of the GWP Commission is very, very reluctantly in favor of rate hikes. We all have a consensus that the rate redesign needs to be put in place to protect our city and to put our utility on a solid path for the future. As to the rate hikes portion, you'll hear more about that next time you meet. But we have been debating and discussing and asking questions of staff. We've worked really, really hard on the Commission. All of us are working people. We're all supporting households. I noticed with bemusement the other day, some letter to the editor said that we should give up our entitlements and our benefits, and I want to assure the public nobody on the GWP Commission receives any benefits other than a little parking slip that I used to slip into the parking space once a month. So we're all working people. We're all supporting households. None of us want to see rate hikes if it can be avoided. But these are unavoidable rate hikes that need to be in place in order to replenish our reserves and put the utility on a strong footing. I'll be back next time to say more about that and to answer any questions that Council might have, but I want to assure you I cannot say enough about the commissioners I'm working with. They are all working professionals in the field. I'm an attorney. I'm not in a utility profession by background, but the staff has done an incredible job, as has the consultant, in responding to the very nitpicking questions of all the commissioners, and so has the city attorney assured us that we're on a strong legal footing. So enough said for today. I'll be back next time. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Dentler, and thank you also for your service to the community. Just two quick things. First, I just wanted to do a very quick response to something Mr. Mohill said. MWD has not decreased our water rates. They've increased them, and they'll continue to do so into the foreseeable future. They've announced rate increases for the next several years, including this year. So I don't know where you got the information that the rates have gone down. Believe me, they've gone up, and they'll continue to go up. That's already been decided on and announced. And I would like at some point, for the next meeting that we have, an analysis of Mr. Zavos' concerns about the legality of this. I know that other cities have progressive rate structures, so I'm assuming that if there was an issue that would have come up with one of the many other cities that have a progressive rate structure, but it would be nice for you to give us a breakdown of his arguments and what your response is.
We'll do that, Madam Mayor. We've actually been working already with some of Mr. Zavos' previous requests to prepare responses to those as those.
Well, if we can do that
council.
the next time this comes back, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, and with that, do we have, do you want to continue this to a date certain?
I'd recommend you take it off calendar.
Okay. We don't need a vote for that, correct? Okay, so it's off calendar, and then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we are adjourned. Nobody leave yet, we're going to do closed session.